This is the final part of my How to Play Any Lead Sheet course, and I've got good news. If you've made it this far, you've already done most of the work. You've learned how to construct chords, how to invert them, and you can take all of that and actually play a lead sheet with it. All that's left to do now is just add a few new chords, the minor 7 flat 5, diminished 7, major 6 and minor 6. Today we're going to go over those and give you some material to practice them on. As always, all the music and tables you see on screen can be found in the description. Alright, let's do it. So we're going to start with the chord that does exactly what it says on the can, the minor 7 flat 5 chord, literally a minor 7 chord with a flat 5th. So if I make a C minor 7, root, minor 3rd, perfect 5th and minor 7th, and I take the 5th and flatten it, I've now got a C minor 7 flat 5. Alright, your turn. Hit the pause button and have a go at making an E minor 7 flat 5 and an A flat minor 7 flat 5. You have 3, 2, 1. So for E, that would be root, minor 3rd, flat 5th and minor 7th. And for A flat, that's root, minor 3rd, flat 5th and minor 7th. So that might seem pretty simple, but most of my students get thrown by this chord, which is why we're tackling it separately. Before using this chord on a tune, we'll get comfy with it by working through this chord chart. As before, we're going to construct each chord, check it over, and then move on to the next one, always using our inversion trick to find the closest position for the next chord. We'll do the first few chords together, and this pause icon will flash on screen before each new chord to give you a chance to pause and do it without me first. So the first chord is D minor 7 flat 5, so that's root, minor 3rd, flat 5th and minor 7th. The next chord is G dominant 7, and my second finger is closer to the root than the pinky, which is all the way down here, so I'll use my second finger for the root, and then it's major 3rd, 5th and minor 7th. And then it's just that over and over again. So next chord is C minor 7, this time pinky is closest to the root, and then it's minor 3rd, 5th and minor 7th. Once you've worked through that chord chart, we'll put the minor 7 flat 5 into context by using it on a tune. If you have a real book, Autumn Leaves is a classic beginner tune that features a minor 7 flat 5 and would be a good one to learn at this stage. If you don't have a real book, I've written a tune that's kind of based on Autumn Leaves called Spring Pollen, and I've crammed it with minor 7 flat 5s so you can practice using them. We'll quickly go over the first few bars of my tune together, and then I'll leave the rest for you to work out yourself. The pause icon will flash before each new bar, so you can have a go at it without me first. The chord for bar 1 is B minor 7 flat 5, which is going to come in on beat 1 as it's the only chord in the bar. I want to play this first chord in second inversion, as that will allow me to play the melody where it's written without worrying about the hands bumping into each other. So the melody's written here, and if I put my chord in root position, it's just kind of close, and then when I continue, you see they're kind of getting in each other's way, right? So I could bump this up an octave, but I don't want to do that. I'd rather play it where it's written. So if I just play the first chord in second inversion first, then that's not going to be a problem. So to do that, I've just got to play the root with my second finger, and then from there it's just minor 3rd, flat 5th, minor 7th, and now I'm in the second inversion position. So let's put that all together from the pickup. So 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. The next chord is E dominant 7. This time the pinky is closest to the root, and then it's major 3rd, 5th and minor 7th. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we have an A minor 7 flat 5. This time the second finger is closest to the root, and then it's minor 3rd, flat 5th, minor 7th. 1, 2, 3, 4. And so on. Just keep working through it, and once you've got this tune to a place you're happy with, we're going to move on to the last section. Alright, we are now ready to add the last of the basic jazz chords to our repertoire. For this, we'll need a new interval, the major 6th. The major 6th is 9 semitones above the root, so for C, that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But it's much quicker to find it by counting 3 semitones below the root. So we're just going to skip up to this C here and count down 1, 2, 3. Pause now and try to find the major 6th for D, F sharp and A flat. So for D, it's B. For F sharp, it's D sharp. And for A flat, it's F. So we've now got everything we need to construct the last 3 chords, starting with diminished 7s. So diminished 7s have a minor 3rd, a flat 5th and a flat minor 7th. So a minor 7th is down 1, 2, and then we flatten it. And that's a C diminished 7. Pause now and find F diminished 7 and A diminished 7. So for F, that's going to be root, minor 3rd, flat 5th and flat minor 7th. And for A, we've got root, minor 3rd, flat 5th and flat minor 7th. So next is the major 6th chord, which has a major 3rd, a perfect 5th, and our new interval, the major 6th. So we'll skip up here and count down 1, 2, 3. Hit pause and try to find E flat major 6 and B major 6. So for E flat major 6, that's going to be root, major 3rd, 5th, major 6th. And for B, that's going to be root, major 3rd, perfect 5th, and major 6th. And finally, the minor 6 chord, which is identical to the major 6 chord except for the 3rd, which is minor. So that's root, minor 3rd, perfect 5th, and again the major 6th. Hit pause and try to find E minor 6 and G minor 6. So for E, that will be root, minor 3rd, perfect 5th, and major 6th. And for G, that's going to be root, minor 3rd, perfect 5th, and major 6th. Alright, we now know all the basic jazz chords. We'll drill constructing these 3 new chords by working through another trusty chord chart. I'll do the first few chords with you, and again, the pause icon will flash before each new chord, so you can do it without me first. The first chord is C major 6, which we're just going to play in root position. So that's root, major 3rd, perfect 5th, and major 6th. The next chord is B diminished 7. Pinky is closest to the root, and then it's minor 3rd, flat 5th, and flat minor 7th. Next we've got B flat minor 6. Again, the pinky is closest to the root, and then it's minor 3rd, perfect 5th, and major 6th. And then next is the F major 6 chord. So this time we've got the second finger closest to the root. I was already on it in fact. And then it's a major 3rd, a perfect 5th, and a major 6th. So remember to check over each chord after you've made it. And then once you've worked through that chord chart, it's time to take everything we've learned and put it all together on a tune. All of You is one of my favourite tunes from the real book. And it features all the chords that we've covered in this course. It's quite a big project for a beginner, but it's a great piece of music. So if you're up for a bit of a challenge, that's a really good one to have a go at. If you're still sans real book, you can learn my tune instead, called All of Them, so named because it features all the chords that we've covered. Let's have a go at the first few bars. In bar 1, there are 2 chords, G major 7 and F sharp dominant 7. When there's 2 chords in a bar, the bar is shared equally between them, so G major 7 will come in on beat 1, and F sharp 7 will come in on beat 3. Again, I want to play my first chord, G major 7, in second inversion. So to do that, I'm just going to put the second finger on the root, and then it's major 3rd, 5th, major 7th. Now let's play from the pickup to just before the next chord. 3, 4, 1, 2. Okay, next we have F sharp dominant 7. The second finger is closest to the root, and then it's major 3rd, perfect 5th, and minor 7th. So we'll go from here to the next chord. 3, 4. Okay, next is A minor 7. Again, the second finger is closest to the root, and then it's minor 3rd, 5th, and minor 7th. 1, 2. And that's it. It's just like every other tune you've learned up to this point. It's a bit longer, it's got some extra chords, it's got more chords per bar, but the basics of how it's put together are exactly the same. Once you've learnt your final tune, you should have all the chords and skills you need to tackle any lead sheet. You will still encounter some chords that you don't recognise, but they can all be substituted for one of the basic chords that we've covered in this course. So for example, in Autumn Leaves there's a B7 flat 9 chord, which is something that we've not learned how to play. But if you snip off the flat 9, what's left is just a B7 chord, which we do know how to play, and will work just fine in place of the 7 flat 9. So here's a table of all the fancy chord symbols we haven't covered, and this section tells you which of the basic chords you can use in their place. Here's the first few bars of my tune, all of them, that we just looked at, but I've replaced the original chords with some fancy ones that we haven't learned. With the help of this table, we're going to turn this back into something that we know how to play. So the first chord is a G major 9. Obviously the name itself gives the game away a bit, but if we use the table we can see our suspicions are confirmed and major 9s can be swapped for major 7s. So instead of playing a G major 9, which is obviously a chord we haven't covered, we can just play a regular G major 7 in its place. So next comes an F sharp 7 flat 9, which our table tells us to swap for a regular F sharp 7. And then we've got an A minor 11, which can just be swapped out for an A minor 7. And a D13, which can be swapped out for a D dominant 7. And voila, now we've got something that we can actually play. And that is the final piece of the puzzle, so you now have everything you need to play any lead sheet you can get your hands on. I've condensed all the chord information onto this cheat sheet, so you've got just one place to look if you get stuck on a chord. And yeah, have fun with it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.